With nothing else to do, I went inside the theater. I could tell earlier by looking at the size of the crowds going inside, but it was a very high and energetic crowd. The atmosphere was clearly different different than Isaki's seminar, which was mostly students there for credit. The place was nearly full with a crowd of scientists and people who wanted to learn about the cutting-edge technology. Victor Condria's researcher had published a state of papers in Science recently and had gotten a lot of media attention. Maybe that's why. Were there any open seats? I mean, there's all of those. I found a single open seat at the edge. But when I looked at who was sitting next to it, I moaned. Oh, look who it is. ... You again? Moeka Kiryui was there. She was speaking to no one, just typing endlessly into her phone. I once blamed her shining finger because of her incredible typing speed. And she was as fast as ever. I got my phone out. Oh wait. Oh, that's because I clicked this by accident. Getting things going okay with Mr. Seminar. Can I type? I can't call anyone. Settings. Wallpaper settings. That does that. Oh shit, it does how I go back. Or next page, I guess. Dr. Leskin reached the podium almost at the exact same instant I sat down. There was a huge wave of applause. But when they saw the tiny little girl come up next to him, the applause faded into confused murmurs. Maho must have expected this. Her expression didn't change in the slightest as she stood next to the professor. In fact, when she took the microphone from the professor and looked around the theater, she looked like she belonged there. Ladies and gentlemen. First, Dr. Leskin began to speak in English. When he made eye contact with Maho, she began to interpret.
Thank you for attending.
Everyone, thank you for coming to my seminar.
I am Alexis Leskin.
Why does it sound... Why does he sound like a robot? Why does his English sound like a robot? My name is Alexis Leskin and I'm with Victor Condria University's Brain Science Institute. My specialty is brain signal processing system. Okay, it would make sense to say is the brain signal processing system and artificial intelligence theory. And I am his assistant, Maho Hijago. I am also a researcher in the institute working under the professor. I'm glad to meet you all. The audience started murmuring again. That was the same way I responded when I met her. Well, that happened. Yeah. Ew, why is his English so weird? I like to get right into it by introducing some of the cutting-edge research we're doing. Okay, I don't see expectation anywhere on there. The topic we're discussing today is the artificial intelligence revolution. But I think the system we're going to demonstrate today goes beyond anything you've ever imagined. Dr. Leskin stood in front of the laptop that had been placed on the podium and started to type. Oh, why is English so weird? This computer is linked to one of the supercomputers in our labs. Oh, don't turn on the projector just yet. One of the staffers was about to display the laptop screen on the front projector. Some kind of important program must have been booting up because Maho Hijago stopped them. Sorry, this stuff isn't complete yet. The screen's filled with programs that are pretty to look at.
Honestly,
I'd rather let you see me naked than let you see these lousy programs. Well then.
Any engineers out there?
この中にエンジニアの方がいるなら理解していただけます
If
よ
there are
ね
any engineers in the audience today, you know what I'm talking about, right? Some of the audience got the professor's joke and laughed.
What are the Spanish
起動するまでの間このシステム全体の概略を説明しましょう
While it's booting up, I'll go over the basic idea of the system. There was another projector in the center of the stage. A diagram appeared on the screen, and at the top of the diagram was a Japanese translation for the general audience. I can't read that. Okay, there you go. An analysis of neural pulse signals relating to the memory stored in the temporal lobe. ... Exclamation mark. I knew that title well. In fact, I was sure I could never forget it. It was a title for an essay written by a 70-year-old genius and published in Science. She had completely analyzed the nerve impulse pattern that governed the human memory and used that to digitize the memory themselves into data. She had used that to embed a time leap machine right in front of my eyes, though none of that had actually happened anymore.
actually being featured in a
サイエンス誌に掲載
This
された
paper
ので
appeared in Science, so I'm sure some of you had seen it before.
It was proposed by a very talented
これは
Japanese member of our team.
This
私た
theory
ちの
was
チームにい
proposed
た
and financed by a
天
brilliant
才
Japanese
的な
member
日
of our
本
team.
人研究者によって提唱され完成されたものです
Human memories are stored in
人
the
間の記
cerebral
憶は
Human memories are stored in the cerebral cortex, particularly the temporal lobe. They're a lot
いわ
like
ゆる
flash
フ
memory.
ラッシュメモリみたいなもの
The part of the temporal lobe
そのメモリに記憶を書き込んだり
The part of the brain that reads and writes this flash memory is called the
回路妨害という部位になります
hippocampal gyrus. Dr. Lyskin pointed to the diagrams of the brain and hippocampus on the screen.
The brain works by transmitting
脳は
electrical signals
ニ
between
ュ
The
ーロン
brain
と呼ばれる
functions by
細胞
sending
の間
electrical
を
signals between
電
the
気信号
cells
が
called
伝わっていくこと
neurons.
what we call memories are
記
just
憶というのも
Memories are actually
実
just
は
a
こういっ
transmission
た
of
電気
these
信号
electrical
の伝わりの
signals,
一つなのです
and it's in the
その働きを
hippocampal
制御しているのが
gyrus that controls them.
in other words
つまり
electrical signals
電
In
気
other
信
words,
号が
memories
回
are
路
created
妨
by
害を
passing
電気することで
electrical
記憶
signals
は
in and
作
out
られ
of
てい
the
くんですね
that I'm tired of trying to say it. Hippocampal gyrus or gyrus.
that was a foundation for
そこで
memories.
マキセ・クリスは
So Kirisu Makise,
この
the
論文を書い
Japanese
た日本
scientist
人
who
研
wrote this
究者で
paper,
す
And excuse me, I mean Ms. Makise, one of
Miss
our-
Makise came up with the idea, with an idea.
You see here, electrical signals, signal patterns.
Electrical signals, signal patterns, the
電
cerebral
気信号の
cortex.
パターンと大脳皮質の
Oh, Mahu started having trouble with her interpreting. She was getting confused. No matter how good you were with languages, interpreting for a long period of time had to be difficult. I had once read an article on the internet that said even a professional can't do it for more than 20 minutes. International conferences and live broadcasts from overseas were actually handled by a team of people switching off. Or maybe was she having trouble because Kurisu's name came up? Dr. Liskin saw she was having trouble and cut himself
す
off.
みません
I'm sorry.
Ms. Makise, focus on the patterns.
マキセ研究員は
Miss Maki said to focus on the pattern. Jesus Christ, why is he talking so fast? Of the pattern of electrical signals going in and out of the hippocampal gyrus.
Analyzing those patterns,
そのパ
she
タ
was
ーン
able
が
By analyzing the pattern, she was able to get the complete data on which memory in the cerebral
解析
cortex
を
it
行って
corresponded to.
完全なデータを得たのです
This data allows her to take
これによって
the analog memory signal
記憶という曖昧でアナログなものを電気信号のパターンの組み合わせというデジタルなものに変換する基礎理論が確立されたのです
This created the basic theory that lets us take the vague analog thing we call memories and turn it into a digital combination of electrical signals.
Ms. Makise published her research
これが
in several journals.
サイエンス誌に掲載された彼女の論文です
The result was her paper, which appeared in Science. dot dot dot.
And now, based on her theory,
そして現在
has developed
And right
私たちのチームは
Oh, I totally
そ
didn't
の
talk.
理論をもとに人間の記憶をデジタルデータとして取得するシステムを開発しています
And right now, our team is using that theory to create a system to turn a person's memories into digital data. A wave of whispers swept across the theater.
それはすなわち
which means
This system allows human memories
人
to
間
be
の記
stored
憶を
on
コン
we
ピュ
can
ーターに
store
保存し
and access a human's
それを
memories on a
活用す
computer.
るシステムということになります。
The whispers turn into a loud roar. I see. So even after her death, Godisu's research was being carried on. Of course, maybe it was natural that it would be. That was the basic theory for time leaping, which I had proved myself, even if I could never prove it to anyone else. In the Alpha World line, my memories had been turned into data and stored on a computer. There was no doubt about that. And what Dr. Laskins was talking about right now was the basic technology required for that process.
We are
現
attempting
在
to apply this
私たちが行っているプロジェクトは主に2つです。1つは医療分野への応用です。
There are two major projects we're working on right now. One of them uses this system for medical applications. The slide on the project changed.
For this application, we've
こ
been
ちらは
collaborating with
精神生理学研究所と共同で行っているプロジェクトです。
This project is a joint effort with the psychologist lab.
by passing data from a computer
コン
to
ピューターに保存した記憶データ
The
を
idea is to
細
use
胞崩壊を通して
hippocampal gyrus to put the memory stored in the computer back into the
という
brain.
もので
Incredible. Someone shouted who looked like a grad student in the front row shouted. Wait, what? Someone from the front. Something like that. Dr. Laskin didn't seem particularly put off by the interruption. Maho continued her interpretation.
You don't believe it? I know how you feel.
信じがたいですか。
Incredible, huh? I can understand how you feel. I would feel the same way in your position.
私も皆さんの立場であればそう言ったでしょう。
I mean, I don't blame them, but still.
But let me just ask you.
しかし
Can you image
この研究に
Well, we
私
feel
た
this
ちは
research
手
is
応えを
making
感
real
じています。
progress.
こ
How
れが実
wonderful
用
would
化
it
でき
be
れ
if
ば
we
ど
could
んな
make
に
it
素
work?
晴らしいことでしょう。
we could treat memory loss in
例えば
secondary or
老化による記憶障害
that currently have
あと
matured.
はアルツハイマーなどそうしたものへの対処療法が期待できます。
One example would be the memory problems caused by aging or Alzheimer's. This would be the form of hypnomatic therapy.
Anyone's memories could be
患者の記憶をデータとして自動的にバックアップしていくのです。
We could automatically back up the patient's memories as data.
if a memory is lost,
記憶が失われたとしても
it's possible to
その都
access
度 PC にアク
and
セス
we can
し
store data in
脳
the
内
brain.
にデータを再インストールすることが可能です。
Even if the patients lose their memories, they could just go to their PC and reinstall them. That's just weird.
We could halt the progress of
それによっ
and
て
dementia.
忘却の進行を食い止められるのではないか
accomplish.
私たちはそう考えています。
We think this would be a way to stop the memory loss.
Eventually, it would be
最終的には
In the end,
会話妨害から PC 内の記憶データに常時アクセスできるようになるでしょう。
in the end, we hope to make memory data stored on your PC constantly accessible via the hippocampal gyrus.
so if the brain were to lose
そうすれば
functionality,
脳機能が失われた状態、例えば脳が激しく損傷したり萎縮してしまった場合などですが、
This would mean that if the brain functionally was lost, for the example, if the brain was badly damaged or atrophied,
そのような状態でも
whatever part of the
変わ
brain
ら
is
ず
fine.
脳機能を維持できます。
brain functionality could still be maintained,
Like an
あた
so
か
even
も
if it was damaged.
外部ストレージと同じように
It would be like a form of external storage. A strange feeling gripped the hall. Part of it was shock and the feeling that they were witnessing the announcement of an incredible technology. Part of it was skepticism that a system like this could never actually work. Part of playing around with a human brain like that. And except born of all these things passed from one member of the crowd to another. Dr. Layskin raised his hand to encourage questioners. It looks like I need to take questions before we move on to the next project.
I'll answer as many as I can. Go ahead.
I'll answer anything I can. Go ahead. Many hands were raised. I could tell that there was a wide age range of people interested, both young and old, were raising their hands. Dr. Layskin pointed at a questioner. This was the first question. Samplings would be required when digitizing analog memories. Does that mean that any information would be lost? The professor nodded as he listened to the question in Japanese and began to respond in English, and when the speaker finished, maybe he was able to understand Japanese but not speak it, if not speak it. To put your question in another way,
Talking about attempting to
オーケストラの生演奏を WAV のデータに保存する際、生演奏のすべてを完璧に記録することはできないと。
you're saying that when you're saving a live recording of an orchestra as a WAV file or WAV, it's impossible to record everything.
That's certainly a concern.
確かにその懸念はあります。現在の研究で最も困難な問題の一つです。
That's a good question, and it's one of the biggest problems facing our research right now.
脳内のネットワークが
If the network within the brain constantly simply of neurotransmitter consisted of simply of neurotransmitters turning on and off, that is exchanging binary data, the problem would be simple.
それはデジタルデータと同じことだからです。
That would be the exact same thing as the computer's digital data.
しかし実際には伝達物質や電気信号は脳内でアナログ的に変化することが分かっています。
But we know that neurotransmitters and electrical signals form an analog network within the brain.
So at present, the best
この
solution
問題に
is
関しては
simply to store data
今の
at
と
the
ころ
highest possible
より
sampling
高い
rate.
サンプリングレートでデータをサンプルする方法しか手段を持っていません。
The only way we have to deal with this problem right now is to sample at a higher rate.
In musical teams, you could
音
say
楽の話で言えば 44.1kHz よりも 48kHz 48kHz よりも 96kHz でサンプリングするといった具合です。
To continue our music sample, instead of sampling at 44.1 kHz, we'd sample at 48 kHz, and instead of 48 kHz, we'd use 96.
It's still digital data, of course,
それによっ
but
て
the information you
デジタルでありながら
as close as
ア
possible
ナログデータに近い情報を得ようとしています。
This allows us to recreate something very close to the original analog data digitally. Little by little, the mood in the room was turned into disappointment. People were beginning to wonder if it was really just a pretty theory that wouldn't work in reality. More questions came. All of the questioners were skeptical of the professor's theory, and many of them seemed to be outright challenging him. I started to get upset. This was Dr. Layskin's research, but it was also Kurisu's. I knew better than anyone that it worked, and the sight of so many people refusing to give it a chance infuriated me. Were all these people really scientists? I tried to keep myself under control and looked back towards the podium. Dot dot dot. Was she mad? She certainly looked disappointed. Dr. Liskin was very polite with the rude questioners, acknowledging the problem with the theory. She was very different. Her anger was starting to seep into interpreting too. I felt a kind of kinship with her. The questions and answers session continued.
これは医学的に無謀でしょう。デジタルデータを脳に書き戻すなんて絶対に不可能だ。正気の沙汰ではない。
From a medical standpoint, this is just reckless. It's absolutely impossible to rewrite digital data back into the brain. It's insane.
サイエンス誌に掲載されたあの論文も読みましたが、にわかには信じられない。
I read the essay in Science and I had to say I don't believe it.
ましてや、筆頭著者が若干17歳の女性だったとあっては。
Especially since the lead author was a 17-year-old girl. That was the one thing I couldn't ignore. Listen. Oh, okay. Objection. What? The two people on the stage and the entire audience all turned towards me at once. How do you know it won't work when you haven't even tried? The world's full of technologies that we never thought would work. That people never thought it would work. But they exist now because people overcame those problems. Criticism alone doesn't help anything. The whole theater went silent. But I didn't regret standing up. You, on the stage, Maho Hijago was staring at me in shock. And as for Dr. Liskin, I saw a flash of white teeth as our eye met.
Awesome. He's really something.
Awesome, he's really something. He started to applaud. Why was he applauding? That just made things embarrassing. Awesome. He's really something. The professor says. Mahon translated the professor's word for me to hear.
Nonetheless, a scientist must always remain composed.
But a scientist must remain calm at all
The only
times.
time when it is possible to showcase when your experiment is a success and you say,
The only time when you're allowed to yell is when your experiment succeeds and you say,
We did it.
"We did it." That's 3 times.
and that should be enough.
それだけで十分。だ
That's
そう
all
です
you
よ。
need, he says.
すみません。
I'm sorry. I lowered my head and sat down. I thought I was calm, but I guess I let my emotions get away from me. I hadn't grown up in the past 6 months. If Kurisu was here, she'd make fun of me again. I could feel the rest of the audience stare at me coldly. It hurt. If I could have left, I would have wanted to, but I was too interested in hearing the rest of Dr. Liskin talk to move.
Anyway, moving on.
それでは皆さん、そろそろ次に。
Alright everyone, moving on.
Oh, first, a round of applause,
でも、
please, for
そ
our
の
great
前
friend.
に勇敢な彼に拍手をお願いします。
But first, how about a round of applause for our brave audience member? Oh no, please no.
Men like him are what
彼
drives
のような
scientific
挑
progress
戦者
and
こそが
enact the
科学を
core
進歩させ
remarkable share.
あっと驚くような理論を作り上げるのです。
Challengers like him are the ones who advance science and come up with the really amazing theories.
He may even become the third
彼なら
Einstein.
きっと第3のアインシュタインになれるかもしれませんね。
He may be capable of becoming the third Einstein. Who the hell's the second one?
ちな
Oh,
みに
okay.
第2のアインシュタインはここにいるちょっと小うるさい私のです
By the way, the second Einstein is my little assistant here. Stop
変
messing
なこと
around,
言うの
Professor.
やめてください教授。
The audience chuckled. Sheesh.
さてここで私はしばらく通訳をお休みさせていただきます。
Now then, I'm going to take a break from
こ
interpreting.
れから私よりも優秀な通訳が登場します。
The next interpreter is far better than I am.
私たちのチームが 今最も力を入れている2つ目のプロジェクト。
This is our second project and the one we're putting the most effort towards.
アマデウスシステムです。
The Amadeus system. When she finished speaking, Maho walked to the back of the stage. At Dr. Liskin's signal, the PC screen was displayed on the projector, and then I heard a voice.
初めてお目にかかります。
Nice to meet you, everyone. ... The murmuring got louder than before, but it felt more uncertain than surprised. On the screen, I could see a detailed 3D model of Maho, the girl who'd just been
ちなみに
interpreting.
これは映画などで有名なドリンクワークススタジオに作成してもらったモデルです。
By the way, this model was made by the famous Drinkworks studio. You've probably seen their movies. Maho Hijago was shipped from the back of the
声に
stage.
ついては私のボイスサンプルをデータベースにして
The voice was
日
done
本
by
の
a Japanese
山田が
company,
作ってくれました。
Yamana. Using my voice samples. This was CG. It sure looked real to me. The professor said something into the laptop's microphone, and then the 3D model of Maho on the screen opened its mouth.
私はヒアジョウマホです。正確に言うなら78時間22分前のヒアジョウマホから派生した存在ということになります。
I'm Maho Hijago. To be precise, I'm a being based on the Maho Hijago who existed 72 hours and 22 minutes ago. If you listen carefully, you might be able to hear something slightly off, but it sounded far more human than any artificial voice I'd ever heard.
先ほどから皆さんの質問を聞かせていただいていました。
I've been listening to your questions,
教授はどうして私を早く紹介しないのかと
and I was wondering why the professor didn't introduce me earlier.
以前から感じていました
I
が、
thought for a while that the professor was a bit of a mean streak in him.
全くだわ。
You've got that right. Oh shit. And okay, so I'm guessing the real one and the one by the wall nodded in agreement. Dr. Liskin simply smiled. What was going on here? Part of this was the biggest project. The rest of the audience didn't seem to have any more of a clue than I
皆
did.
さんの多くは疑問に思っています。
Many of you are wondering
人間の記憶をデータとして
whether
取
it's
り出した
possible to
り、
extract a human's memory as data, save them and use them.
さらにはそのデータを活用したり、そんなことが本当に
You're
可能
wondering
な
if
の
that's
か。
really something we can do.
それでは私は一体何でしょうか。
If not, so I'll put this question to you. If not, what am
私
I?
は78時間23分前のヒアジョウマホの脳内から取り出された記憶を持ち、その
I
デ
am
ー
based
タを
off
ベースにして動いているのです。
I am based off data that was extracted from Maho Hijago's brain 72 hours and 23 minutes ago. What did she just say? The professor said something else in rapid English and asked the Maho on the screen to translate it, but she, if she was the right word, hesitated and went silent. I looked at the real Maho and she responded exactly the same way.
今のは
Professor, is it alright if...
教授、今の発言はセクシャルハラスメントとして大学に訴えてもいいでしょうか。
Professor, is it alright if I report that sexual harassment to the university? Dr. Nestle laughed sharply and responded to her. The conversation was in quick English and over half of the audience couldn't understand. The real Maho sighed and took back the microphone.
教授はです
Well, the
ね、
professor,
私に対して、いえ、私の記憶で動作しているこのアマデウスに対して質問に答えてごらんと言いました。
well, the professor, he told this Amadeus system, which is based off my memories, to answer a question.
いつ頃までパパとお風呂に入っていたかとか、
It was stuff like how old I was when I stopped taking baths with my dad.
初恋はいつだったかとか、何でも答えられるだろうと。
Or when did I first fall in love? He said any of those questions should be answerable.
ああ、もうそれ以上通訳しなくていいわ。
Ah, geez, you don't have to translate anymore.
恥ずかしいからやめてくれないかしら。私はそういう質問には一切答えないわよ。
Would you stop that? It's embarrassing. I'm not answering any questions like that. The professor said something else, and the Maho on the screen groaned and turned
ク
away.
レジットカードの番号なんてもっ
And
と
I'm
言えません。
definitely not telling you my credit card number.
あと、1週間前に着ていたパジャマの色なんて覚えて
And
る
I
わ
don't
け
even
ないです。
remember what kind of pajamas I was wearing a week ago. What was it? It was so natural. I couldn't tell at first, but this was something unbelievable. What? I could tell that much. Jesus Christ, what's with his face? That's weird. It wasn't answering the questions it was given, and because they were embarrassing? Was it programmed to respond like that to certain questions for that purpose for this demonstration? It was possible that's all it was, but if that conversation wasn't programmed in advance, the rest of the crowd seemed to reach the same conclusion. Same conclusion I did, and the whisper started to turn to surprise.
ちょっといい加減このいたずらな子供を何とかしてくれないかしら。
Listen, can you do something about this little troublemaker?
何をしたいのか理解はできるけど、とにかく恥ずかしいわ。
I know what he's trying to do, but it's embarrassing. The copy of my host complained to original. I felt like I was watching a pair of twin sisters talking.
いたずらな子供ではなく、レスキネン教授が面白がってなかなか説明してくれないので、代わりに私がお話しします。
Well, since the little troublemaker that is Dr. Leskin is having too much fun to explain what's going on here, I will. Maho walked to the professor. Walk back to the professor.
もうお分かりかと思いますが、
I think everyone already figured this
ア
out,
マデウ
but
スは自分が話していいこととそうでないこと、あるいは話したいことと話したくないことを自ら判断して喋っています。
Amadeus is deciding on its own that what it can and can't talk about and what it does and doesn't want to talk about.
私たちはアマデウスにそういったプログラムを一切施していません。
We haven't programmed any of this into her. I knew it.
与えられた私の記憶からそれを独自に判断し、自律的にそういう行動をとっているのです。
It uses the memory we gave it to make its own autonomous decision. The Maho on the screen suddenly took over for her.
そしてこれは先ほどの医療分野への応用とは方向性が真逆になってしまい、研究所内でもずっと議論が交わされていることですが。
And there's another thing which is the exact opposite of the medical application we discussed. The research team spent a lot of time arguing about this,
私
but
は不必要な情報をいつの間にか忘れてしまう。
I eventually forget about unnecessary
と
information.
いうか、記憶の引き出しから出してこられなくなるのです。皆
Or
さんと
rather,
同じようにです。
or rather, I become unable to access those memories, just like all of you.
例えば、1週間前に着ていたパジャマの色。確かにそれを知っていたはずなのに、今は思い出せません。
For example, the color of the pajamas I wore a week ago. There's no reason I shouldn't know this, but right now I can't remember it.
そのような情報は生存していく上で必要がないからです。これも皆さんと同じです。
That's because this information isn't necessary to my survival. The same goes for all of you.
このようにアマデウスは記憶のインプットやアウトプットが人間のそれと非常に近いのです。
As you can see, Amadeus' memory inputs and outputs are very similar to a human's.
これは私たちも驚くべき結果として研究を重ねている最中で、まだ詳しくは解明されていません。
These results surprised us too, and we're currently researching it, but we still don't know exactly how it works. As Maho finished up, Dr. Liskin took the microphone back. She resumed interpreting as he continued to lecture.
さらに私たちを驚かせたのは、アマデウスが意図して嘘をつくということ。
Another thing that surprised us is that Amadeus is capable of deliberate lies.
何らかのトラブルやミスではなく、わざとそうするのです。
By deliberate, I mean it lies of its own free will, not as the result of any programming error.
嘘は人間が他人とコミュニケーションを取る上での一つの手法です。
Lies are one method that humans use to communicate with one another.
アマデウスもインプットされた記憶を自律的に検討し、必要であれば自分や他人のために平気で嘘をつきます。
And just like a human, Amadeus can use its memories to decide if lying would be best. If so, it will lie without hesitation.
教授、誤解を招くような言い方はやめてください。
Don't tell them that,
嘘
Professor.
をつくのに平気なことなんてありません。私だって両親が咎めます。
I can't lie without hesitation. I have a coincidence, conscience. I'm so sorry, and Dr. Liskins got off. He seemed to be hesitating. Maho didn't seem especially surprised by this. Maybe she knew the reason. But the moment passed and the professor continued, and Maho translated his words like there was nothing shocking about them at all.
このような検証を続けていくことで、最終的に私たちは
As we continue our research, we eventually believe that
アマデウスに人間と同様の魂を宿すことができるのではないかと考えています。
it may be possible to give Amadeus a soul, just like a living humans. I was stunned. A soul? Should one of the leading brain scientists in the world really be using a word with such a vague definition? Vague?
これこそ本当の意味での人工知能ということになります。
This would mean the creation of artificial intelligence in the true sense. The whole hall got very quiet, and it was sheer chaos for a while after that, as everyone tried to debate their own personal theories with Dr. Liskins all at once.